Hey everybody, it's been a while, so here's a new video for you. Yesterday, I went for my driving theory test for my UK license. So I've been able to drive with my international license from the States, but that's going to be expiring. Things got a little bit put back because of COVID and with them suspending all of the testing and the driving tests and stuff. So finally was able to get my probationary provisional license in the mail. Once I got that, then I could book a test for the written test here, which I did yesterday. Okay, so anyway, when I took the test in the States for the written test, May 13th, 1985. Okay, some of you people weren't even born then. I actually saved my test when I took it. Okay, piece of paper, multiple choice, 20 question multiple choice test. Physically write it on paper, hand it in, somebody graded it, and gave it back to you. I got a big P on it because I passed, luckily, the first time. And out of the 20 questions, it's two-sided, I got 4 wrong, 4 out of 20. But I still passed. I think that was an 80% passed. Okay. It's a joke. Our tests are literally a joke compared to what they want here. You might as well just slit your wrists and give it to them here because that's what they want. Theory test is in 2 parts. First part is multiple choice questions, 50 multiple choice questions, okay? Second part of the test is called a hazard perception test, which is a video test that they give you 14 clips. And they're a minute long. And you have to click, it's all computerized now. With the mouse, you have to click every time you see a hazard, which would they consider to be a hazard or something that you need to change direction or brake for, okay? 14 videos. There's 1 hazard in each video. You don't get penalized if you click on something that could be a potential hazard, okay? So if you see somebody walking on the sidewalk with a dog, that could be a potential, but if the dog starts to run, you got to click that's a hazard, okay? One of the 14 videos has 2 hazards in it. The way they judge you is once you see a hazard, you have to click the button. It's on a grading system of 5 to 1. So if you click on the button, as soon as the hazard pops up, you get 5 points. As time elapses, the longer it takes for you to recognize the hazard, you get less points. So if you notice it at the very end, you get only 1 point. If you notice it too late, you don't get anything. You don't get penalized if you click on something that's not a hazard, but you can't just do click, 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 because that they'll feel like you're cheating and they say you won't get any points for that particular test question. There's 14 points on that. So for the multiple choice, 50 multiple choice questions, you have to get 43 out of 50 questions right, okay? And for the hazard perception, you have to get 44 out of a possible 75, okay? So I've been doing the practice tests on my own, and out of all the practice tests that they had online for the multiple choices, I must have done maybe 20, 25 practice tests. I passed 1. Okay, I always failed by 1 or 2 questions. It was always really close, but I still failed. The thing is, when you take this test, if you have to do both parts. You don't know if you already passed the first part. They just go right into the second part, and you do the perception test. And then after that, when you go out, you find out if you passed or not. Okay. So anyway, yesterday was my test. It was in Swansea at 9 o'clock in the morning. So we went down early. Gareth drove me down. We parked. We went to go into the place. He came in with me, but then he had to leave right away because they don't let anybody stay. So when you show up, you have to show them your provisional driver's license. And so he had to pull down my mask, show him it was me. Okay. I had to wear my glasses for the test, but you couldn't bring in your case, I guess, because I had to take the glasses out. So, and they have lockers there. So I had my eyeglasses, my driver's license, and the key to the locker. Okay, everything else went back in the locker. My phone, I had to physically turn off my phone in front of the guy, put it in my purse, and put it in the locker. Okay, lock the locker, go to the next phase where I'm going to go into the actual class, into the test. There's another guy sitting there. So he's like, let me see your ID, show him, pull down my mask. Okay. Do you have anything in your pockets? I said, no, just tissues. He said, you have to throw them out. So I'm like, now with the mask, I'm always blowing my nose, okay? And my nose is constantly running. So I said, it's just tissues. My nose is constantly running. It's going to be distracting for me. He's like, you can't bring your tissues in. So now I'm getting a little bit like flustered here. And I said, I have that in my chapstick. He's like, you can't bring your chapstick in either. And you see how red my lips are. My lips are always red, and I always had to put my stuff on. So now I'm getting really upset because I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do without my tissues, because I could just see my nose is going to be running. You know, I don't want to be like wiping. I'd be totally distracted and not take the test good. So I threw out the tissues, and then he says, you can leave your chapstick here, and if you need it, you raise your hand and come out and get it. But I know now I'm going to need the tissues. There's no doubt I'm not going to need the tissue. So I proceed to start crying in front of the guy because I was very upset. I was very nervous to begin with. So here I am wearing my mask, and I'm starting to cry, and I'm like, I don't understand. I was this close to saying, F this, I'm out of here. But I was like, nope, just chill out for a second. But then he proceeds to say, empty your pockets out so I can see if there's anything else. So I had to pull out my pockets. Do you have back pockets? I was like, no, I don't have back pockets. Let me look in your ears. Wanted to look in my ears to make sure I didn't have any papers or anything, secret codes. Wanted to look at the front and backs of my hands. Made me pull up my arms. I mean, this is not classified FBI information, man. This is a freaking test. I'm like, okay, now I'm bawling, completely bawling, because I'm thinking this is so retarded. I know I'm going to say something really, really bad. And I'm just crying, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm just really nervous, and I just don't understand. So he could see that I was losing it. So he reaches over on the side of his desk, and he's like, take a tissue. And I go, what? He goes, you can take a tissue. So I took one. I was like, okay, thank you. He goes, take more. Take more. Because he's probably like, I don't want to deal with this wacko. She's going to lose it in the test. So he says, you can bring him in. You have to leave the chapstick out here. Okay. So I took 3 tissues and I put them in. I guess because they weren't contraband tissues. They were his tissues. So they knew they didn't have some secret piss-written stuff on the inside that was going to give me all the answers to the test. So I was able to go in. Okay. So, go in, I took the test, 50 questions, multiple choice. I'm telling you, they ask, it's valid. I mean, there's really stuff that you need to know, but a lot of it's first aid. What do you do if you find somebody, a motorcyclist, you come upon a motorcycle vehicle accident, and the motorcyclist is bleeding and unconscious? What do you do? And of course, there's always 2 choices that are like ridiculous that you would never answer. And one of them, so out of the 2 that I thought, one was like, talk to whoever witnessed the accident. Like, what would you do for, like, what's the first thing you do? So one of them was stop the bleeding. And the other one was pull the person off to the side of the road. Okay. So I'm just thinking about like my training when I did EMT class. I would pull the person off to the side of the road because you have to make sure that you're safe. You're safe first, and that another car doesn't come and hit you, and then you're both screwed. So that's what I put. But it's stuff like that. It was just really, 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 really detailed. Again, I took my test in 1985. I don't know what the test is like now in the States, but I could have like chopped it out in a rock. That's how long ago I took the test. But anyway, so I did the whole test. Go to the hazard perception test. Not too bad. I was feeling pretty confident. I thought it was pretty good. I was on maybe the 3rd or the 4th video, and I was click, and I said, okay, could be click, just a minute. Okay, click. At the end of the minute, it came up, you clicked too many times. You get 0 points for this question. I was like, and as I'm, the people must have hated me because as I'm in the class, they had those barriers in between so you couldn't see other people. And I'm reading out loud to myself because it was calming me down. Okay, you're at an intersection and you see, okay, what do you do? And anybody next to you was like, shut up. But it was real. I was doing it really low. I wasn't talking really, really loud. So when I messed up on the one hazard perception test question, I went, oh, fudge. I didn't say fudge. I said the other thing, but I said it really low. I hope nobody heard me because I was pissed that I missed the points on that question because I knew what the hazard was, but it just thought I'd clicked too much. But now I'm like, I got to shake it off because I still have nine or 10 more questions I have to answer. So I didn't want that to screw me up at the end. By the time the whole test was done, I was feeling fairly comfortable. I mean, I didn't know if I passed. I kind of thought I passed, but I thought if I did fail, it wouldn't have been by a lot. Because I went in there thinking, I'm going to fail. I'm going to have to take it again anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But at least it's a good experience that I could see what it's going to be like. So the next time I come, I'll know. Anyway, when I walked out, the guy that had given me the tissues, he had switched places with the other guy. So now he was at the front desk, okay? So I walked out. He's like, let me see I had to show him my thing again. He's like, okay. And he slid the piece of paper underneath. He's like, okay, here's your results. And I didn't even look at it because I was just so nervous. I went to my locker and I got my pocketbook and my coat out and everything, and I'm putting my stuff on. So I walked back to the guy and I was like, I pulled on my mask a little bit and I was like, I'm really sorry. Thanks for your patience. I really understand. He's like, it's okay, don't worry about it. And I was thinking he's probably going to go home tonight to his wife and said, you should have seen this wacko American that came in and was crying because she couldn't have her tissues at the test. But anyway, long story short, I passed my test. Thank you. I don't know, it's a miracle I passed, but I got 45 out of 50 questions correct on the multiple choice. And even with the screw up on the 0 points for the hazard perception, I got 61 out of a possible 75, and you needed a minimum of 44. I got, on the double hazard clip, it was a possible 10. I got a 9. And then on 6 clips, I scored 5. 4 clips, I scored 4. And 2 clips, I scored 3. The one clip that I messed up on, I scored 0. So my perception was pretty good on that one, I have to say. Anyway, so this part now, thank God, is done. Now I have to do the actual driving test. Came home, went to go book it online. First available day to take the test is December 23rd because they're so backlogged with COVID. And my international license runs out, I think, on January 9th. So I'm going to be cutting it very close to not being able to drive here because you cannot drive after being here a year. And that's when mine expires. But I was taking driving lessons when I first got here. I called the instructor when I got here, but he has so many students now because of the backlog. He's like, I'm hoping I can fit you in because I want to go out with him a couple of times and he can give me more pointers. I've been driving anyway, but I want to know what they're going to want for this actual test when I do it here. Again, when we took it way back when, it was maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes. The test here is 40 minutes, and they ask you show me and tell me questions before you even head out. Show me what you would do to check the oil in the car. Tell me what the tire tread has to be. How do you turn on the low beams, high beams? Just very, 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 very much more detailed than what we did. So anyway, that's the next phase, and I'll keep you posted on that. But at least for now, this part is ticked. And as usual, nothing goes easy. So I hope everybody's staying well, stay safe, and I'll catch you up the next time. Bye.